All right, so good day, everyone. I'm here with a very, very interesting person. I've been working with him for a few months now, and we've gotten to know each other a lot about life, about childhood, about youth, about the problems of today. And I would really love to for everyone to learn from him too. So today we have Freddie. He is a passionate founder of the Empower Youth Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to equipping young people with the tools, the confidence, and opportunities they need to become leaders and change makers in their communities. So, with a background in finance, a mentorship across several nonprofits, and the personal inspiration of being an uncle to 23 nieces and nephews, Freddie has made it his mission to address the challenges facing today's youth, from education gaps to leadership development. So let's welcome in Freddie Ruiz, aka Adulting with Tia Freddie. Welcome in.
Hi, Min. Thank you very much for that welcoming and most graciously put of posting me up. It's very nice. And just to tell you something, I have 35 nieces and nephews. If you
Oh,
count my nieces and nephews' kids, I was an uncle when I was 3 months old.
oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
35. So let me correct that, 35 nieces and nephews. So I am really interested to hear how you started this Empower Youth Foundation. Can you speak about your journey getting here, being the founder of Empower Youth Foundation?
Yeah, wow. I think it all started when I turned 33. I kind of became empowered myself with just uniting people, and I really got close in the health and wellness space at my gym. And just meeting people. It was just a great place to meet people and to learn how to be better about yourself. We had personal trainers. I was working at Verizon at the time. And then COVID happened. That was around 2019. I was 33. COVID happened. And that just threw me for a whirl because I was really living and breathing off of that gym and that unity and being around people, that just being at home by myself, not told not to be go outside and to touch people or whatnot. So that just kind of threw me for a whirlwind mentally, along with some other personal things that were going on. And through all that, I had some mental health challenges of myself, and I found God. And I've always believed in God, but I had a lot of things happen to me at the time, and it's just they were just a bunch of signs, and I finally kind of saw all the signs growing up. Like, yeah, he's been around me, he's been watching me, and so through that, I found my passion. I kind of just found my why. Like, what am I here for? I started really kind of inner soul searching of who I am, what am I doing? I really got back into the church. I started reading other books and looking at other religions and just trying to understand what reality is and what we're doing here. And through that, I found kind of my passion and what I've always been good at, which was just helping people be better. Like every time I was the go-to person at my job. If there's a problem, oh, let's get Freddie involved. He can help and figure things out. So I was always very kind of analytical and, a quick thinker and can solve problems and kind of intuitive, dynamic. And I just kind of helped people be better and help resolve problems and help unite people to a common goal or cause. And slowly but surely, my idea of helping the youth kind of just transformed from at first I actually started a name. It was called Kid Strong. Kid Strong Foundation was my first name. Um, and I did start a nonprofit, but that kind of just it failed, and it was more so just focused on like the gym that my daughter was at the time, gymnastics. And through that, I found a lot of just health benefits of doing calisthenics and trying to be a better dad for my kids. But like I said, it transformed from Kid Strong Foundation to what we now have, Empower Youth. And through your help as well, Ben, we've been able to kind of work and transform the vision and mission and really focus on how we're going to share this information with.
I love that. So it's really coming from your, enlightenment journey, and really trying to understand like what your purpose is. And it seems like you are more focused on the youth, right? Like why
Yes.
why is it important to empower youth of today? What are the problems that we are facing right now?
Yeah, well, I think even with just my kids, technology, it's stripping away our young generation from communicating openly and directly, right, with one another, which is how we were made to be. We're communicating through, an object, um, which I don't think is as connectedness, so to speak. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that well. But why youth? I think I've always been that uncle. And I've always been that fun uncle trying to just, raise spirits and have a good time, especially around family gatherings. Like I loved family gatherings, and you can imagine our family gatherings, just a few of us and just pack full of pack a house down. And my mom was always good at like feeding a crowd. I mean, she had 10 kids, so she was she knew how to make a lot with a little. Um, but youth is just it's our next generation, right? It's who's gonna be the future. At one point I'm gonna die, we're all gonna die. And it's really making sure that they have the tools that's necessary to make this world a better place. Sometimes not to say that old people cannot change because they can, but how much life do they have to really make an impact at this point, right? If you really want to make the most impact, let's teach our young who are here and going to be here a lot longer even than us, um, to kind of let that grow and compound, right? Because if we teach our kids, they're going to teach their kids, and that's just the compound effect moving forward. It's almost like trying to stop the bleeding or whatever, and let's see how we work from the ground up,
Mhm.
from a foundational level, right? Which is part of the reason why it's Empower Youth Foundation, because it is, and as you know, I have a liking to the letter F. And so yeah, it's finding what is that root why in everything. What is that foundation? And I think that's important for people to really ask those questions to really kind of push that passion forward.
Got it. And what is that foundation that you feel is necessary for the youth to really have to build, leadership, change the world, change the cycle of their life? So what are those
Yeah.
you feel is important right now for youth to have?
Yeah, it starts with our foundational program, which is the Empower Nine framework. Nine F's of life to have a fulfilling, joyful life is what I call it. And it's number one, faith, faith in yourself, faith in God, faith in what you're doing, faith in who you've been, faith in just what's happened to you, and understanding that, life can be hard, but as long as you keep having faith that everything is shaping you and molding you to what you believe you need to accomplish in this world, you'll be all right. The second letter is family. So family is a backbone to who we are and very much shape us who we are, right? And it's important to keep them close because they are that backbone, and they're the people that kind of love you wholeheartedly for no matter what you do, right? Like my children, they can do the worst things ever, but I'm never gonna stop loving them. And I want them to know that, so that they know that they have somebody there to talk to, regardless of what is happening in their life. So yeah, family. Number three is friends. So we all know you are the person that you hang out with, you know, the three or five. I'm not sure what that phrase is. Um, you're the person, the five people that you hang out with. So, it's important to really associate yourself with people that are gonna help you grow and achieve what you want to achieve. It's funny. I had a conversation with my daughter the other day. We were talking about boyfriend. She's 13.
Already there.
And and thankfully she's like, "Oh, I don't want one." I was like, "Okay, good. Great." And I told her, "What you need to do is just focus on you, focus on what you're trying to do." And that's something I would tell any 13 or te teenager is focus on what you're trying to do, focus on what you're trying to accomplish. And God or the world, the universe, whatever you believe in, will somehow put someone in your path that will help you in your goals. And maybe that will grow and it'll will continue, or maybe it won't. But the minute that that person is not, you're not working together and it's uncommon goal, then maybe it shouldn't work out. But and so don't worry about that. Don't go chasing boys. Like they'll come to you. Let's put it that way. But yeah, number three, family. Number four is food. So food is, we are what we eat. Very important to understand your nutritional habits and what you put into your body. Understand who you are. Everybody has different body types, right? If you go into the health and wellness space. Um, but I think it's good to know some people, a lot of times from what I've seen in different books is that certain mental issues or health issues, a lot of times it's just from being nutrient deficient in something. You're just not taking enough, I don't know, calcium or potassium or, you know, um, magnesium. Like it just, a lot of that stuff kind of helps us formulate in our brain. I think it's important for everyone to kind of take time to really understand themselves medically. And a lot of times doctors just want to give you pills. And I'm not against pills or medication because it does help in certain instances, but doctors are trained to give prescription, not really fix the underlying cause. And I think a lot of times there are things that you can fix through your food and what you eat. Um, so I think it's important to start there. And not only that, it brings people together. Food is, there's no party without food. I want to think about Jesus. He broke bread and gave wine. So it's a good commonplace to unite people as well. You think about food. I also think about soul food, right? What kind of feeds your spirit, lifts you up. Definitely being around people. Fifth F, fitness. Strong body, strong mind, and it's also very important for us to just keep that in mind. And you know, um, my biggest thing with fitness is I fell in love with calisthenics, and that's simply because you can do it anywhere without any equipment. You can do a push-up everywhere. You can do a squat by yourself, anywhere. Um, Pull-ups if you can find a tree or a park, you don't need a gym to go do some pull-ups, some squats, and some push-ups, which are foundational to just uh good body movement. And believe it or not, you can actually build some strong muscles. You're not going to get big and bulky. You're just going to be toned and be able to just follow your grandkids around if when you get to that age, which that's my goal, is not to be the best looking person, but just to have functional fitness. I can jump up, squat, I can run full speed if I have to chase something or someone down, in a split second. Um, so yeah, fitness is very important. And last is finance. We do live in a world and economy where money, and for it does matter. You have to pay for things and you have to cover your bills and be able to pay for the food and the fitness and have those parties and all of that. All that requires money. And so it's important to kind of keep a highlight of what you're doing from that perspective. What are your financial goals? And what do you need to achieve those? And the last three F's are just fun, fear, and focus. Use a little fun, fear, and focus across all six. Fun is the natural dopamine. So if you're always having fun, it just you get this dopamine kick and it boosts your mental performance. And fear is if you're doing everything the same, you're not using your brain at it's not at its peak. If you're just kind of going through the motions. Sometimes you drive and you don't even realize, but you're just going to the same spot. You're not using your peak mental state at that point. And so it's a matter of doing something outside the box, challenging yourself to be better, right? Doing something that really um, that's the word. It challenges you. Because when you're challenged, you have a little bit of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and that kind of puts you in a better alert mode. Too much of it obviously is too bad for you, but just a little bit and it is always good. So it's always good to have that emotion in mind. And last but not least, focus on what matters. I know Grant Cardone has this 80/20 book, and it's about focusing on the little things that are going to move the needle the most. And so when it comes to all of those six, well, find what's going to move the needle the most and focus on that, and then try to trim the fat the rest of your time on anything else, right? It's not part of my focus area. So
I
there you
love
have it. That's
it.
formula, foundational formula for fulfilling life. I keep using F words.
For
And
good efforts.
I just it's not just because I guess because my name's Freddie and I kind of hold acronyms around F and the letter A. So it's I don't know, just kind of built up.
Yeah,
And I did take that from another training. It was four F words, and then the fun, fear, and focus I got from YouTube video. I don't remember this woman's name. Maybe we could look it up and find it. But it was I was on this big kick on how do I get my peak mental state? How do I get in this flow state? How do I get in this state where I'm just doing a lot with not much effort and I'm literally just kind of making things happen and really, in my peak mental mode. And I found this video and I came across the having fun, fear, and focus and how, the having those three emotions literally put the right brain chemical concoction to have you in that mode.
I love it. What I like about it is that you are breaking down, particular areas in life wherein you can tweak, right? Like these are things that you should have, but not every single one of them should be focused on right now. Or do you agree that it's something that could give them a structure to understand what is missing, what's good in my life, and what I need to change?
Hmm.
Um, can you give me an example on how this framework works for someone who is going through maybe, a difficult time in their lives? Um, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I think the one thing anybody can do right now, if you're watching this, is do a vision board and put those six items on your vision board and put a little fun, fear, and focus on your vision board across those six and kind of help that grow. And you'd be surprised how you'll you'll hit those vision boards without doing it. It's just a matter of subconsciously tricking your brain to do these things, and that's a great way to manifest what you want. You read it, you write it, you see it, you envision it, you look at it every day, and subconsciously you kind of add that to your mind, and you'd be surprised how you'll little by little start working towards these aspects of your life and improve them.
I love that. So really starting with a vision, understanding what are those elements that you can, you know,
Hmm.
assess in your life, how
Hmm.
that looks, and then put a little fun, fear, focus.
Correct. You
Yeah.
got it.
I love
And
it.
I think one thing about all of it too, just to add, balance. It's always important to balance. Can't be the best at everything. So sometimes if you do focus on something, it'll take away from something else. We all have a limited time of energy and time and energy, and so it's always important to kind of rebalance and check out what's going on. If you feel your family is losing out because you're putting your finance and your career ahead, then maybe it's time to take a pause and you know recalibrate yourself. Um, uh, so it's always good to kind of reflect, on what's going on in your life.
I also am curious about your journey, right? Like you also had this big enlightenment. What was that like for you? And I know there's a lot of people right now, like maybe a lot of youth who do not know what they want, who might not have the guidance, who might not have the family to tell them and support them on their dreams. Um, and in your case, you were an adult when you had that enlightenment. So, what was that like for you, and how can you help people who are going through the same thing?
That is a very good question, and I think everyone has their own journey and their own um, method, I guess, to arrive to that why. And sometimes you don't necessarily need to have that answer at 18 or 15 or 20. I think it's just important to keep asking yourself those questions and to keep looking at the signs around you, your intuition, right? Listen to your heart and your mind. And sometimes, when you either meditate or clearing your mind, but just keep asking yourself these questions and live live each day knowing that, it'll come to you, you know. And that's one of the things I also, help share is that when it comes to happiness and what you want, just envision the happy life that you see yourself having and just see it and live in the moment. It's going to happen. And so just, take each day as a journey and enjoy the process, whether it's the good, the bad, knowing that that happy life or what you see yourself will happen. But same thing with finding that why is it'll happen. It'll come to you. So if it doesn't come to you, don't get frustrated or really say, "Oh, I don't know," but just live each day with a little bit of gratitude and grace and understanding that, life has its way of taking you where you need to go and know that that inspiration or that bing moment will happen, when the light bulb just pops up. It's like, oh, yes, like that's what I want to do. And then don't waste time. That's the next thing. Just take a step towards it. I've had that mistake of having this moment. Oh yeah, I want to work with youth, and then I ended up circumventing trying other businesses and whatnot to try to help fund and blah blah. And I just wasted time. I went like around that way versus going straight to what I need to do and doing that thing that'll help me get there closer, right? What is that item or that action step that's going to help me get there? Um, which reminds me of the whole motivation inspiration from Jim Quick. He has a formula for motivation, which is S cubed. Small, simple steps. So take a small, simple step towards whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And you'd be surprised that taking small, simple steps every day adds up to a lot. I want to go send 100 postcards for Christmas right now. Let's say. Well, sending 100 postcards to say, oh, that's going to take me 3, 4 hours this afternoon, or however much you think, right? But if you take a small, simple step, well, let me start with one. You'd be surprised. You do one, and then you do another one, and then before you know it, you might done 10, and you're that much closer towards your goal. So, I think it's great advice from Jim Quick. But the formula was that was the third part of the formula. The first part was your why. Um, really understand your purpose behind what you're trying to do. Number two was energy, which is you can have the biggest why, but if you haven't slept 24 hours, you're not you're not going to be very you're not going to have much energy to do anything. So, and then that last part was the S cubed. Yeah. So it was purpose P times E times S cubed. That's what it was. Yeah, motivation.
I love
Keep
that.
back to it. Yeah.
For those who are math geeks there. Sure you relate, but if not, it's basically just finding your purpose, having the energy, having the right sleep, eating well, and what's the S? S cube?
Yep. Take a small, simple step.
Small, simple steps. So, okay. So I am also interested in your channel. You have a channel called Adulting with Tio Freddy.
Yes.
And it's very interesting because you talk about your life experiences and also some tips on how to adult better. So if you could just give like three tips right now for the youth out there to live a better life, what would that be?
Wow. 3 tips. I can give a lot of tips, but we talk about foundations and the top three. Let's see. Number one, faith. It's the top of the list for a reason on my F's. Um, and like I said before, yeah, just to really have that confidence, that faith that all will be all right. And the struggles and the pain that you might be going through right now is just part of the rhythm of life that's only gonna boost you to even better, more fruitful future. And so have that faith in who you are and have that inner dialogue that inner dialogue that we have with ourselves is we're our own worst critic. And so I think it's really important to hone in on that inner dialogue and boost yourself up because everyone, there really is no difference between all of us. We all have the same capabilities, and some people, I do agree, some people innately do have certain skills and traits, but we do all have that own unique skill and trait, our God-given talent, so to speak, um that is unique to you, and so embrace it and share it with the world, you know. I don't know. Did I said one, two? I kind of kept rambling a little bit.
Yeah.
That was all around faith.
Yeah. Mhm.
I rambled on faith a little, and I gave another tip. But
That's
yeah,
okay.
so faith number one for sure. Um, and the one that came to me recently, and I think it's on the top of my list too now, is to just love like Jesus did. If you live your life loving the world, from those lens, it's kind of hard not to just be happy and caring for the world and your community and your friends, your family. And so it just kind of lifts you up. Um, so having that mentality, I think is also important, um, to help unite you with people, right? I mean, if you love like Jesus did, you're naturally going to just build community around you and and show love for the world. And bring the best version of everybody, right? So if I want to help people be the best version of themselves, just having that loving like Jesus mentality will naturally, you know, um, echo or what's the word? Just continue to reflect around everyone, right? Having that same mentality. So that's number two, and then number three, faith, love like Jesus, and I think one thing that a lot of people can do now, that can just boost their mood, uh, just an instinct is give yourself credit. I forget to do that sometimes. And I think you mentioned that to me one time, and is yeah, just pause and give yourself credit, give yourself a pat on the back for where you are, what you've accomplished. Because if you really look back, I can guarantee you've accomplished more than you might think. And sometimes our expectations of what our life should be kind of shadows what we've already accomplished and kind of like reduces our happiness, so to speak, which is something I learned recently about happiness is, like it's just what life throws at you minus your expectations of what you think life should be. And so sometimes just by lowering your expectations, you can increase your happiness. And then someone mentioned, say, well, I guess I just won't expect nothing. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess to a certain extent, being grateful that you woke up is one expectation that you can, start off with. But is to break up your aspirations, what you're trying to aspire to do. So I want to aspire to, help a million people be the best for a million young people to be the best version of themselves. But if I can inspire one today, I am happy.
I love that. It's almost breaking it down to smaller, simple steps.
Correct. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
one person is enough. Okay.
Yes.
So uh I'm wondering how different is Freddie when he was young versus now?
I don't know. Um, I guess I've always been that kind of funny, uh, a little loud, kind of attention seeker. Uh, but a little mischievous, in like learning stuff, right? I guess it's kind of a way to test boundaries, right? And I guess I've always been that way. Even now, I guess I still kind of just test boundaries. I don't just do what I'm told. I like to ask and understand why. And sometimes there are certain rules, and they say that rules are meant to be broken, right? Uh, Not all of them, but certain ones, it's just like, why are we doing that? That makes no sense, you know? Like, if I feel like something's wrong and there's a rule for it, I'm gonna probably break it.
Okay.
But that is sometimes I've found lessons in life too. Is I've pushed boundaries that probably should not have been pushed, but it's led to certain you know lessons in my life that it's like oh now I understand. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, we should follow that rule. Yeah, so I'm not telling you to go break rules or anything like that. I'm just saying to trust your intuition and feel what's right and wrong and be open to speak up if something's not right, have that courage.
Nice. I asked that question because I want to understand whether, you know, because when I was young, I was very different. I mean, there are some parts of me that are the same, but I was
Hmm.
still trying to figure out who I was. Um, I was kind of like in my shell. I wasn't very confident. I think it's because like I was in a situation where there's so many great people around me. Like the standards are high and I don't see my light. But when I went out of that, bubble and went out to the world, that's when I realized like, oh, I have something to give. And I also just want to, I'm sharing that because uh, I want to be able to share that journey with the youth of today, that not everything is fixed, right? Like you can always change. And I want to ask you, what is that big transformation that you saw in your life from when you were young to when you are, how you are today? And what is that thing that helped you do that?
Honestly, I think it was just the natural slow progression for me. I really wasn't focused on knowledge or wisdom, which is um I think kind of what started my journey to really understand the why is that wisdom seeking of really understanding who we are, how we're doing, what am I, what are my capabilities and all that question. But yeah, I think for me it was just living life and slowly just being better and going through problems and issues, whether it's family drama or this or that, and um just finding peace with life and where you're at, and it just keep going, like not really put too much pressure, it just kind of naturally happened, which kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where yeah, don't put pressure on yourself, just yeah, live in the moment,
That's the process.
breathe and be okay. Yeah, trust the process. You might have to work that 9 to 5 for a few years, sure. But that's helping you learn and grow, you know. Don't stop. Yeah. And yeah, you're gonna fail. That's great. I say that because that's that's you doing something fearful, right? If you try something you've never done before, you're gonna fail. Yeah. And so it's also a learning opportunity. Like Thomas Edison, I did not fail. I only learned 1,000 ways that didn't work, you know. And so it's just part of the process. And
I love that. I
yeah,
love how calm you are in talking about that. That life is a process, the transformation is a process. It's not that one aha moment. It's a series of moments where you are just putting the pieces together and really
correct.
understanding yourself, what you like, what you don't like. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I often
Brings
see
me back to a post. Sorry to cut you off because before I forget, because I have uh there was a picture I put on Instagram. You are the artist of your life. So be the person that you envision to create your masterpiece. And so just be that person that you see yourself, and you'll create your masterpiece.
I love it. Okay, we are only 1 minute um out. Uh, I do want to ask about, what are the things that you feel like we need to draw out,
What do you mean?
like in
Sorry.
the conversation, if you have anything that you want to kind of like draw out. Oh, okay.
No, I think the conversation's been very fruitful.
Thanks. Okay. So now that you are building this foundation, you're very clear in your why, you know the F's, you have built this framework and you've been doing a lot of mentorship. What is now the next step for you and the foundation?
The next step for me and the foundation is building a community of like-minded youth individuals who are open to receiving guidance and understanding and wisdom and knowledge, and unite themselves with other people that are like them, that are similar, that are trying to find that guidance, that feature their why and understanding and working together, because by yourself you cannot accomplish anything, but you put a room full of bright, young, smart kids, and you'd be surprised, what some of the unimaginable things or can be created. And that's how things are created, right? Like we didn't just have planes. Somebody had to think about it, vision it, and work on it and get with other people to create plane. I'm pretty sure I don't think there's not one invention that was ever created just by the person that invented it. They all had a group of people behind them creating and working on whatever it is that invention is. So while we do have one name behind an invention, it's every time you see it and they say thank you, right? Yeah, on all these thank you notes, they always come back and thank their incredible team and the people that are around them, their support staff, their family, their mother, their friends. So it's like all these efforts again coming in. So yeah, just have that community where we can live and grow and help each other and be accountable for each other on what we're trying to do. I don't see it a world where we have mentor mentees. It's more accountability partners is what I like to call them, is find someone who's joining this journey with you and meet with them once a month and say, what have you accomplished on your goals? What are you trying to do? And catch up with each other.
I love that. So it's really about the community spirit, doing things together, being accountable. And so how if I'm a youth of today, I want to build a better life for myself. I have this big goal, don't know how to do it. How can I join this program?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook group called Empowered Youth Family. You can join. We can put the link somewhere in this meeting or somewhere where you can find it. Um, and just join the Facebook community and start your journey there.
All right. Thank you so much, Freddie, for your time. And this has been an honor to talk to you about your journey, your
Thank
foundation,
you.
and how you're helping the youth of today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, done.
Peace and love. All right. Good
Okay,
job.
nice.